The council chamber was cold. It always was. Lisa Grant had stopped noticing it months ago, but today the chill seemed to sink deeper into her bones. She sat at the human delegation table, her hands folded on the smooth surface, watching the alien representatives argue among themselves. 3 cycles. That was how long the attacks had been happening. 3 cycles of human colonies burning while the Galactic Council debated and delayed. Captain Jake Morrison stood behind her, his military uniform crisp and perfect. He had been a soldier before becoming a diplomatic envoy, and it showed in the way he held himself. Straight back, steady eyes, always ready. Lisa knew he hated these meetings even more than she did. On her other side sat Chris Palmer, head of the Human Defense Initiative. Chris kept tapping his finger on the table, a nervous habit he had when he was angry. He had every right to be angry. 40,000 people were dead. Ambassador Velthar rose from his seat across the chamber. The insectoid alien's multiple eyes gleamed in the artificial light. His translator device made his voice sound smooth and pleasant, which somehow made everything worse. "The Council acknowledges the human concern," Velthar said, his mandibles clicking. "However, we must consider all perspectives before taking action." Lisa felt something cold settle in her chest. She had heard those words before, many times. She stood slowly, gathering the data tablets in front of her. The chamber grew quiet. Every species represented their turn to look at her. Some with curiosity, others with barely hidden contempt. 18 settlements, Lisa said, her voice steady. That is how many colonies we have lost. 40,216 citizens. Dead. We have names for every single one of them. She activated the holographic display. Images filled the air above the council floor. Burning buildings, scorched earth, empty streets where families had lived just days before. These are not numbers, Lisa continued. These are people, children, parents, scientists, farmers, teachers. They were building lives on those worlds. They trusted that this council would protect them, as the treaties promised. Councillor Dreven, the aquatic Solari representative, shifted in his specialized water tank. His translated voice gurgled slightly. "We understand your pain, Ambassador Grant, but the Zenthari are a powerful faction. We cannot simply provoke them without careful consideration." "Careful consideration," Lisa repeated. The words tasted bitter. "You have been carefully considering for 3 cycles while our people die." High Minister Korthax laughed. The sound was harsh and grating. The reptilian Zenthari leader leaned back in his seat, his scales catching the light. "Perhaps the humans should not have built colonies in disputed space," Korthax said, his forked tongue flickering. "If you cannot defend your own territory, why should we do it for you?" Jake Morrison's jaw tightened behind Lisa. She could feel his anger radiating like heat. Chris Palmer had stopped tapping his finger. Now his hand was clenched into a fist. Those territories were designated as open settlement zones under Article 7 of the Concordia Agreement, Lisa said, keeping her voice level. Every species in this chamber voted to approve that designation, including the Zenthari. Korthax waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Agreements change. Politics shift. Your species is young. You do not understand how the galaxy works." There it was. The thing they always said. Humans were too young, too inexperienced, too new to the galactic community to really matter. Lisa had heard it 100 times. In meetings, in private conversations, in the carefully worded rejections of human proposals. The other species had been traveling the stars for thousands of years. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Council 3 decades ago. In their eyes, humans were children playing at politics. "I understand perfectly," Lisa said quietly. "I understand that treaties mean nothing if they are not enforced. I understand that 40,000 lives apparently do not matter enough to take action." Ambassador Velthar's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Ambassador Grant, please. You are being emotional. This is exactly why we must approach these matters with calm and reason. Emotional, another word they love to use." Lisa pulled up another display. This one showed a recording from the last attack. A colony on the border world of New Haven. The Zenthari ships had come at night, burning everything. The screams on the recording were terrible. "Is this emotional?" Lisa asked. "Or is this evidence?" The council chamber was silent now. Some of the representatives looked away from the hologram. Others watched with unreadable expressions. Chairman Pyloth, the elderly avian leader of the council, ruffled his feathers. We have reviewed your evidence, Ambassador. The Council has decided to form a special committee to study the matter further. We will reconvene in 2 cycles to discuss findings and possible actions. Lisa felt something break inside her, not violently, just a quiet snap like a wire pulled too tight. A committee, she said. Yes, Chairman Pyloth replied. A thorough investigation is necessary before we can. How many more will die while you investigate? Lisa asked. 50,000? 100,000? How high does the number need to go before you act? Ambassador, Velthar said, his voice taking on a warning tone. You are speaking out of turn. Lisa looked at him. Really looked at him. At all of them. She had spent 2 years here. 2 years of meetings and committees and diplomatic negotiations. 2 years of carefully chosen words and patience and following every rule of council protocol. And what had it gotten her people? Nothing but ashes and graves. That evening, in the private human quarters of the station, Lisa sat with Jake and Chris. They did not speak for a long time. Jake poured coffee from an old-style thermos. The smell was comforting, a reminder of Earth. They are not going to help us, Chris said finally. They never were. The vote was 17-5, Jake added. 17 species voted to delay. Only 5 voted to send aid. Lisa wrapped her hands around the warm coffee cup. Counselor Jaren pulled me aside after the meeting, she said. He apologized, said his species would have helped if they could, but they do not have the military strength to oppose the Zenthari. What about the others? Chris asked. Velthar, Drevin? Drevin admitted they are afraid, Lisa said. Afraid the Zenthari will turn on them if they support us. Velthar said. She paused, remembering the conversation. He said we need to understand that galactic politics is more complicated than we realize, that humans are too young to understand the delicate balance they have to maintain. Jake's expression hardened. Too young. Always too young, Chris said bitterly. Too young to have a real vote. Too young to lead any committees. Too young to understand, but old enough to die for their political convenience. Lisa's personal comm device chimed. She checked it and went very still. What is it? Jake asked. Orders from Earth, Lisa said quietly. Encrypted. Priority Alpha. She decrypted the message and read it slowly. Then she read it again. When she looked up, both men were watching her carefully. They want us to make one more attempt, Lisa said. One final appeal to the Council. If they refuse again? She trailed off. If they refuse? Chris prompted. Lisa met his eyes. Then we come home. The next morning, Lisa requested an emergency council session. It was granted, though she could see the annoyance on Velthar's face when she entered the chamber. Ambassador Grant, the insectoid alien said. This is highly irregular. The council session ended yesterday. We are not scheduled to meet again until I have new information, Lisa interrupted. Another attack. Last night. The colony at Freedom Station. The murmuring in the chamber grew louder. Freedom Station was not a border colony. It was deep in protected space, 3 systems away from Zenthari territory. Impossible, Korthak said, but he did not sound convincing. My forces would not. 7,000 dead, Lisa said, cutting him off. They hit the civilian shelters first, then the hospitals, then the schools. She activated the holographic display again. The images were fresh, the fires still burning in some of the footage. A child's toy lay in the street covered in ash. The council watched in silence. I am asking one more time, Lisa said. Will you honor the treaties? Will you help defend human colonies? Will you take action against these attacks? Chairman Pyloth looked uncomfortable. His feathers were flattened against his body. Ambassador, we sympathize, we do. But the situation is complex. The Zenthari are claiming those colonies are in territory they have historical rights to. If we intervene, it could spark a wider conflict. So that is your answer, Lisa said. No. We need more time, Velthar insisted. We need to negotiate to find a diplomatic solution that— No, Lisa said again, but this time she was not asking a question. She was stating a fact. She gathered her data tablets. She closed the holographic display. She looked at each council member in turn. I see, Lisa said quietly. I understand now. She turned and walked toward the exit. Jake and Chris followed her. Ambassador Grant, Velthar called. Where are you going? We are not finished. Yes, Lisa said without turning around. We are. The doors closed behind them with a soft hiss. In the hallway, Jake pulled out his comm device. I will send the signal. Do it, Lisa said. Chris looked at both of them. Are we really doing this? Lisa thought of the 40,000 dead, of the 7,000 more who had died last night, of the children's toys lying in the ash. Yes, she said. We are going home. Admiral Kevin Hayes received the signal at 0400 hours station time. He did not hesitate. He had been expecting it. All ships, he said into the fleet-wide channel. Execute protocol homeward. Repeat, execute protocol homeward. Begin immediate departure sequence. On the bridge of the human flagship Independence, officers moved with quick efficiency. No one asked questions. They had all known this day might come. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez sat at the communications station, her screens lighting up with incoming messages. Dozens of them. Alien ships asking what was happening. Station control demanding explanations. Council representatives requesting urgent meetings. Admiral, Amy said, everyone is asking what we are doing. Standard response only, Kevin said. We are departing. Nothing more. Amy nodded and began sending the same message to every inquiry. 3 words in the galactic common language. We are departing. Across the station, every human facility began the same process. Scientists packed their research. Traders loaded their cargo. Families gathered their belongings. Everyone moved with purpose but without panic. This was not a retreat. This was a choice. Dr. Emma Watson stood in the joint research laboratory she had run for 18 months. The lab studied alien biology, shared between human and non-human scientists. She had worked alongside researchers from 6 different species here. They had become friends, or so she thought. Now she was dismantling everything. Emma, wait, said Torvin, one of the Pelthian researchers. He was a mammalian alien, covered in soft gray fur. His large eyes were confused. What is happening? Why are you packing? Emma carefully removed her research data from the shared servers. We are leaving. Leaving? The project? But we are so close to a breakthrough on the cellular regeneration. We are leaving the station, Emma said. All of us. All humans, Torvin's ears flattened. I do not understand. Did something happen? Emma thought about the council vote. About the 40,000 dead. About Chairman Pyloth telling them to be patient while more colonies burned. Yes, she said simply. Something happened. But what about our research? What about the medical applications? We could save thousands of lives. You will have to continue without us, Emma said. She finished packing her personal equipment and headed for the door. Emma, Torvin called. Please, can we talk about this? She paused at the doorway. Torvin had always been kind to her. He was a good scientist and a decent person, but he was not the one making decisions in the council chamber. I hope your research goes well, Emma said. Goodbye, Torvin. She left before he could respond. In the commercial sector, human traders were closing their shops. Martin Cole had run a shipping business on Nexus Station for 5 years. He employed 3 alien workers and had contracts with 24 companies. Now he was canceling everything. But Mr. Cole, his Arconian assistant, chittered nervously. What about the shipment to Velor Prime? It is scheduled to depart tomorrow. Cancel it, Martin said, uploading the last of his financial records to his personal drive. Cancel all contracts. Issue refunds where appropriate, all of them. But sir, some of these contracts are worth millions. I said cancel them. The assistant's antennae drooped. May I ask why? Martin looked at the alien. He had been a good worker, reliable and honest. But that did not change what was happening. We are leaving, Martin said. That is all you need to know. Throughout the station, the same scene repeated over and over. Humans withdrew from joint projects, canceled agreements, packed their belongings, and prepared to leave. No anger, no shouting, no dramatic statements. Just quiet, efficient departure. Ambassador Velthar realized something was wrong when he tried to contact Lisa Grant and received no response. He went to the human embassy and found the doors open but the building nearly empty. Inside, human staff were packing the last boxes. The walls were bare. The furniture was being loaded onto transport carts. What is the meaning of this? Velthar demanded. Lisa emerged from her office carrying a small box of personal items. She looked at him calmly. We are leaving, she said. Leaving? You cannot simply leave. There are protocols, procedures. We are following all departure protocols, Lisa said. Our documentation has been filed with station administration. All fees have been paid. All equipment has been catalogued. Velthar's mandibles clicked rapidly. But why? Is this about yesterday's vote? Ambassador, I understand you are disappointed, but walking away is not the answer. We are not walking away, Lisa said. She set down her box and pulled a data chip from her pocket. This contains the official withdrawal notice. Humanity is leaving the Galactic Council, effective immediately. She pressed the chip into Velthar's appendage. He stared at it as if it might explode. Leaving the Council? That is... You cannot be serious. This is a rash decision made in anger. This is a decision made with complete clarity, Lisa said. She picked up her box again. The building keys are on the desk in the main office. The utilities have been paid through the end of the cycle. The embassy is yours to reassign as you see fit. She walked past him toward the door. Jake and Chris were waiting outside with the last of the staff. Ambassador Grant. Velthar called after her. Where are you going? Lisa stopped and turned back to him. For the first time, he saw something in her eyes that made him uncomfortable. Not anger. Anger would have been easier to deal with. This was colder, final. Home, Lisa said. We are going home to take care of our own, since no one else will. She left without another word. Velthar stood in the empty embassy, clutching the data chip. He could hear the sound of human boots in the hallway outside, moving in organized groups. Evacuation was proceeding smoothly. Too smoothly. This had been planned. He activated the data chip and read the withdrawal notice. It was formal and professional. No accusations. No demands. Just a simple statement that humanity was withdrawing from all council treaties and agreements. Effective immediately. At the bottom was a final line. Humanity thanks the Council for the opportunity to participate in galactic affairs. We wish you well in your future endeavors. It was polite, diplomatic, empty. Velthar rushed to the nearest viewing port. Outside, human ships were already moving away from the station. Dozens of them. Freighters, research vessels, diplomatic shuttles, and the entire human defense fleet. Admiral Kevin Hayes stood on the bridge of the Independence, watching Nexus Station shrink in the view screen. All ships report ready for jump, Amy said from her station. Fleet is assembled and awaiting orders. Any distress calls from the station? Kevin asked. Negative, sir. Station control has stopped trying to contact us. Good. Kevin pulled up the fleet roster. 83 ships, from small personal vessels to massive cargo haulers. Every human ship in this sector was joining the withdrawal. Plot course for the nearest human outpost. Send word ahead that we are coming home. Yes, sir. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel in perfect unison. One moment they were there, filling the space around Nexus Station. The next moment they were gone. On the station, aliens crowded around viewing ports and sensor stations trying to understand what had just happened. The humans were simply gone. Without warning, without explanation, without giving anyone a chance to talk them out of it. In the council chamber, an emergency session had been called. Representatives arrived confused and concerned. Many had not realized how many humans were actually on the station until they suddenly were not. This is unprecedented, Chairman Pyloth said, his feathers ruffled in agitation. They just left. No negotiation, no discussion, no... They gave us a withdrawal notice, Velthar said quietly. He held up the data chip. It is all legal. They followed every protocol, but why? Councillor Drevin gurgled from his tank. Because we delayed one vote? This is an overreaction. They tried to talk to us for 3 cycles, Councillor Jaren said. The Pelthian representative looked troubled. 40,000 of their people died. We did nothing. We were being cautious, Chairman Pyloth insisted. We were trying to avoid a larger conflict. And now we have a different problem, Jaren said. The humans are gone. High Minister Korthax laughed, the same harsh sound from before. Good riddance. They were always too aggressive, too militaristic. The Council is better without them. Are you certain about that? Jaren asked quietly. Of course, Korthax said. Humans contributed little to the Council. Few trade deals, some minor research. Nothing that cannot be replaced. Velthar was not so sure. He had started thinking about all the things humans did on the station, all the places they worked, all the projects they led, all the systems they maintained. It was a longer list than he expected. We should send envoys, Drevin suggested. Talk to them, convince them to return. This is clearly an emotional response. I do not think they will return, Jaren said. Not easily. They need us, Chairman Pyloth declared. They are a young species. Where will they go? Who will they trade with? How will they protect themselves? They will realize their mistake and come back within weeks. Jaren looked at the old avian leader and said nothing, but he thought about the human ships, leaving in perfect formation. Organized, prepared, not panicked or angry. He thought about the expression on Ambassador Grant's face during that last meeting. Not rage, not desperation, resignation. They had given up on the council, and Jaren suspected that was much worse than being angry at it. The council met 3 days after the human withdrawal. Chairman Pyloth called it a strategic assessment session. Most representatives seemed more relieved than concerned. Perhaps this is for the best, said Councillor Mivath, a crystalline being whose species specialized in energy research. The humans were always pushing for more aggressive policies. Now we can return to proper diplomatic solutions. Several representatives agreed. High Minister Korthax was particularly pleased. The humans were a disruptive influence, he declared, always demanding action, always threatening force. The galaxy is more stable without them. Ambassador Velthar was not convinced, but he said nothing. He had spent the last 3 days trying to understand the full scope of the human withdrawal. The more he learned, the more uncomfortable he became. Councillor Jaren felt the same discomfort. Has anyone compiled a complete assessment of what the human departure means economically? Trade Minister Quen is working on that, Chairman Pyloth said dismissively. But I am confident the impact will be minimal. The humans were minor players in the galactic economy. Were they? Jaren asked quietly. Before anyone could answer, an urgent message came through. An attack on a human border colony. The Xanthari had struck again, this time at a world called New Boston. They are testing them, Korthax said with satisfaction. Without council protection, the humans will learn their place. Should we send observers? Drevin suggested. To monitor the situation? No, Chairman Pyloth said firmly. The humans made their choice. They left the council. What happens in their space is no longer our concern. What the council did not know was that the attack on New Boston had lasted exactly 4 hours. The Xanthari raiders had come expecting easy prey. Instead, they found human defense platforms that had been hidden in the asteroid belt. They found ships that moved faster than Xanthari sensors could track. They found weapons that punched through Xanthari shields like they were made of paper. Of the 20 Xanthari ships that attacked New Boston, 3 escaped. Barely. But the council would not learn this for weeks. They were too busy congratulating themselves on maintaining stability. 2 weeks after the withdrawal, the first cracks began to show. A cargo ship carrying medical supplies from a human manufacturer never arrived at its destination. The hospital on Velor Prime sent inquiries. Where was their shipment? The response was simple. That manufacturing facility had been closed. It was in human space, and humans were no longer filling orders for non-human customers. They will find another supplier, Chairman Pyloth said when informed. There are plenty of pharmaceutical companies in the galaxy. But when Velor Prime tried to find another supplier, they discovered something disturbing. The nanosurgical equipment they needed was a human invention. The original patents were human. Other species had manufactured it under license, but those licenses came from human companies, and the humans had revoked all licenses. This is vindictive, Velthar said when he learned. They are punishing everyone. They are protecting their intellectual property, Jaren corrected. Which they have every right to do. We never thought about it because they were always willing to share. Similar problems emerged across the council. A research station discovered that the new scanning technology they had installed was manufactured by humans. It broke down, and there were no replacement parts available. The human company that made them was not accepting new orders. Shipping routes that humans had patrolled began experiencing pirate attacks. The pirates were emboldened by the absence of human patrol ships, which had a reputation for being extremely effective. Send our own patrol ships, Chairman Pyloth ordered. They tried, but the Council's joint patrol system had been designed with human ships filling certain roles. Human vessels had the best sensor arrays, the fastest response times, and the most advanced weapons. Without them, there were gaps in coverage. Gaps the pirates quickly exploited. Trade Minister Quen finally completed his report on the economic impact of human withdrawal. When he presented it to the council, the chamber fell silent. This cannot be correct, Chairman Pyloth said, staring at the numbers. I have checked it 3 times, Quen said quietly. The humans were involved in 60% of galactic trade, either directly or indirectly. They manufactured 35% of all advanced technology. They maintained 40% of the shipping route infrastructure. How did we not notice this? Velthar interrupted. Because they were integrated into everything, Quen said. They did not dominate any one sector. Instead, they had significant presence in almost every sector. Manufacturing, shipping, resource extraction, technology development, medical research. They were everywhere. Jaren noted. Past tense. Yes, Quen agreed. Now they are gone. And they took all of that with them. Surely we can replace their contributions, Drevin said, though he sounded less certain now. Find new suppliers, new trade partners. That will take time, Quen said. Months, possibly years. And it assumes we can replace them at all. Some of their technology is proprietary. Some of their trade routes were only profitable because of their efficiency. Some of their research was years ahead of anything else in the galaxy. The council chamber was very quiet. How long until we feel the real impact? Chairman Pyloth asked. We are already feeling it, Quen said. But it will get worse. Much worse. High Minister Korthax waved a dismissive claw. You are being dramatic. The humans were useful, yes, but not essential. We managed before they joined the council. We will manage now. Before they joined, the galactic economy was half its current size, Quen pointed out. Their participation drove massive growth. Removing them is not simply returning to the old status. It is removing a fundamental pillar of how the modern galaxy functions. Then we adapt, Korthax said. That, Quen said slowly, may be harder than you think. The first real crisis came 3 weeks after the withdrawal. A plague broke out on 3 worlds simultaneously. It was a mutation of a disease that had been thought eradicated. Medical facilities needed a specific treatment, a drug that had been developed at a joint research station, a research station that humans had led. When Council Medical Services tried to access the research data, they found it encrypted. The humans had taken their research with them. All of it, this is illegal, Chairman Pyloth declared. That research was joint council property. Jaren pulled up the original research agreements. No, he said quietly. The research was conducted at a council facility, but the intellectual property rights remained with the contributing species. The humans contributed 70% of that research. They have the right to their own work, but people are dying, Velthar said. Yes, Jaren agreed. They are. Councillor Drevin's species, the Solari, were among those affected by the plague. We must contact the humans, Drevin said urgently. Beg them for the cure. Surely they would not let people die. Send the message, Chairman Pyloth said. The message was sent to Earth. It was marked urgent, highest priority. It explained the plague, the death toll, the desperate need for the cure. The response came 6 hours later. The research you refer to was conducted by human scientists using human methods. While we sympathize with your situation, we are no longer members of the Galactic Council and have no obligation to share our medical research. We recommend you contact your own medical facilities. Good luck. It was polite, professional, and absolutely final. They are letting people die, Velthar said, stunned. No, Jaren said quietly. They are simply not saving them. There is a difference. What difference? Drevin demanded. My people are dying. The difference, Jaren said, meeting his eyes, is that we let their people die first. We stood by while 40,000 humans were killed. We did nothing, and now they are doing the same to us. The council chamber erupted in arguments. Some demanded military action against human space. Others suggested economic sanctions. A few quietly proposed sending another delegation to negotiate. Chairman Pyloth raised a wing for silence. We will not escalate this into a conflict. The humans will come around. They need us as much as we need them. But even as he said it, intelligence reports were coming in that suggested otherwise. Human colonies were thriving. Their defenses were holding. In fact, they were more than holding. Every Xanthari raid had been repelled with heavy losses. The Xanthari were starting to avoid human space entirely. Human trade had not collapsed. Instead, humans were forming bilateral agreements with individual species. Not through the council, but directly. Species that had voted to help humanity found human traders suddenly willing to deal with them. Species that had voted against humanity found themselves frozen out. They are building a separate network, Quen reported. A parallel economy that does not include the Council. They cannot do that, Chairman Piloth said. They already are? Quen replied. Admiral Kevin Hayes met with several non-Council species on a neutral station. These were smaller civilizations, ones that had never joined the Galactic Council because they felt it was dominated by the larger powers. You want trade agreements? One of them asked. Why? You could trade with the Council species. They are richer, more established. The Council is not as rich as it thinks, Kevin said. And we prefer working with people who respect mutual agreements. What about military cooperation? The attack came without warning. Zenthari ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel in the Solari home system and immediately opened fire on the trade station orbiting the fourth planet. The station was a major hub, processing billions of credits worth of goods every day. It was also deep inside Council-protected space. Far from any border, far from any disputed territory, the Zenthari had never been this bold before. Fleet Commander Zephix received the distress call and immediately ordered his ships to respond. He commanded one of the Council's largest defense fleets, 12 heavy cruisers, 30 escort vessels, and support ships. It should have been more than enough, but when Zephix's fleet arrived at the Solari station, the Zenthari were already gone. They had destroyed the station in less than 20 minutes and vanished before help could arrive. How is this possible? Zephix demanded. We should have detected them jumping into the system. We should have had time to respond. His sensor officer looked uncomfortable. Sir, the early warning network in this sector is not functioning properly. Several sensor platforms are offline. Why? They were maintained by human technical teams, sir. When the humans left, maintenance stopped. We have been trying to bring in replacements, but... The officer trailed off. But what? But the sensor platforms use human-designed software, sir. Our technicians are still learning how to service them properly. Zephix stared at his officer. You are telling me our defense network is failing because we lost human maintenance crews? Not just maintenance, sir. The entire early warning system was designed around the human sensor networks. They had the most advanced detection equipment. Their ships filled the gaps in our coverage. Without them, we are blind, Zephix finished. The casualties from the Solari station attack were horrific. 12,000 dead. Among them was Counselor Dreven's family. His mate and 3 offspring had been visiting the station on business. Dreven sat in the council chamber, silent and still in his water tank. His translated voice was flat when he finally spoke. Where was our fleet? Where was our protection? We have treaties. We have defense pacts. Where were they? No one had a good answer. The humans, Dreven said quietly. The humans asked us for help. 40,000 of their people died. We told them to be patient. We told them we needed to study the situation. Now 12,000 of my people are dead. Where is the committee to study this? Where is the call for patience? The silence in the chamber was absolute. The difference, Dreven continued, is that the humans had the strength to protect themselves. They left us and survived. We cannot do the same. We are dependent on a system that no longer works. High Minister Korthax tried to deflect. This was a cowardly attack by raiders? Your raiders, Dreven said, his translated voice hard. Your species, your territory, your responsibility. I do not control every Zenthari faction. Then perhaps you should, Dreven snapped, because they are destroying what little credibility this council has left. The attack on the Solari station was just the beginning. In the following weeks, pirate attacks increased dramatically. Trade routes that had been safe for years became dangerous. Shipping companies began losing vessels at an alarming rate. Where are the patrol ships? They demanded. The patrol ships were spread too thin. The council fleet was large, but it had been designed to work with human vessels filling certain roles. Human ships had been the fastest responders, with the best sensors and the most effective weapons. Without them, the whole system was less efficient, much less efficient. Trade Minister Quen watched the economic data with growing horror. Shipping costs had increased by 30% in 2 months. 12 major trade routes were now considered too dangerous for regular traffic. Insurance rates were skyrocketing. And everywhere the question was the same. Where are the humans? Can we hire human escorts? Will humans protect our ships? The answer was always no. Humans were protecting their own trade routes, their own ships, their own space. No one else's. We are losing billions of credits every week, Quen reported to the council. Major corporations are considering relocating their operations out of council space entirely. To where? Chairman Pyloth demanded. To the Human Alliance, Quinn said quietly. The independent species that have signed agreements with humanity are experiencing economic growth. Their trade routes are protected. Their shipping is safe. Meanwhile, we are watching our economy collapse. How is this possible? Velthar asked. How can one species leaving cause this much damage? Counselor Jaren had been doing research. He pulled up his findings on the holographic display. Because they were not just one species contributing one part, Jaren said. They were integrated into every system. Look at this data. Humans maintained 63% of the sensor networks in council space. They manufactured 71% of the advanced medical equipment. They operated 55% of the shipping fleet. They conducted 82% of the cutting-edge research. Those numbers cannot be accurate, Chairman Pyloth protested. They are, Jaren said. We never compiled this data before because we never thought we needed to. The humans were always there, always contributing. We took it for granted. He pulled up more data. Here is another interesting fact. The humans were involved in 73% of all active defense treaties. Not as the primary military force, but as key participants. When they left, those treaties became less effective. In some cases, useless. Why did we not see this before? Velthar asked. Because we were not looking, Jaren said. We saw humans as minor players. Young, inexperienced, useful in small ways but not essential. We were wrong. The medical crisis grew worse. The plague that had started on 3 worlds spread to 12. Without access to the human research, council medical facilities were trying to develop their own cure. It was taking too long. The death toll climbed into the hundreds of thousands. Desperate, several planetary governments tried to contact Earth directly, bypassing the council. They offered money, resources, anything for the cure. The human response was always the same. We are not members of the Galactic Council. We have no obligation to provide aid. Contact your own government. They are being cruel, Velthar said after another rejection. People are dying. They have the cure. They are choosing to let us suffer, are they? Jaren asked. Or are they simply doing what we did to them? When humans were dying, we chose to study the problem, to be cautious, to avoid risk. Now they are doing the same. The difference is we do not like it when we are on the receiving end. This is different, is it? Jaren demanded. How? Because these are our people instead of theirs. Because we think our suffering matters more than theirs did? Velthar had no answer. The Zenthari Dominion was also suffering, though High Minister Korthax would never admit it publicly. The raids on human space had been disasters. Every single one. The Zenthari had lost ships, resources, and soldiers. Worse, they had learned that human military technology was far more advanced than intelligence had suggested. Human ships were faster. Human shields were stronger. Human weapons were devastating. And human tactics were ruthless. Zenthari ships that attacked human colonies did not just lose the battle. They were hunted down. Human vessels would track them back towards Zenthari space and destroy them before they could reach safety. No mercy, no prisoners. Just efficient elimination of threats. We have lost 47 ships in 3 months, reported Korthax's military advisor. That is more than we lost in the last 5 years of normal operations. The humans are stronger than we thought, Korthax admitted privately. Yes, Minister. And they are getting stronger. Intelligence suggests they are producing new ships at an incredible rate. They have shipyards we never knew about. Technology we never saw them use before. Because they were part of the Council, Korthax realized. They were bound by Council treaties, Council regulations. They could not fully arm themselves without our approval. And now? Now they have no restrictions, Korthax said quietly. The economic impact was hitting the Zenthari too. Human manufacturers had supplied many of the high-tech components the Zenthari used. Without access to those components, Zenthari industry was struggling. Their own technology was a generation behind human tech, and they did not have the research infrastructure to close the gap quickly. Worse, several Zenthari client states were defecting. These were smaller civilizations that had been under Zenthari protection. Now they were approaching the Human Alliance instead, seeking agreements that did not involve intimidation and tribute. The Zenthari Dominion was shrinking, and Korthax was facing growing opposition from his own people. who questioned why he had provoked the humans in the first place. Back at Nexus Station, Ambassador Velthar received an intelligence report that made him go very still. "Are you certain about this?" he asked his intelligence officer. "Yes, Ambassador. Multiple sources confirm. The humans have established a new alliance network. 17 independent species have signed formal agreements with humanity. These agreements include mutual defense, free trade, and technology sharing." 17 species, Velthar repeated. "In 3 months." "Yes, Ambassador." "And more are negotiating. The human alliance is growing rapidly. At the current rate, they will have 30 member species within a year." "What about military strength?" 6 months after the withdrawal, Captain Jake Morrison sat in a small conference room on a neutral station called Haven Point. It was not a council station. It was independent, run by a collective of species that had never joined the Galactic Council. Now it was becoming the center of something new. Across the table sat Councillor Jaren. The Pelthian looked older than Jake remembered. His fur had more gray in it. His large eyes were tired. "Thank you for meeting with me," Jaren said. "I was not certain you would come." "You voted to help us," Jake said simply, "when no one else would." "I remember that. A lot of good it did," Jaren said bitterly. "My vote did not change anything." "It mattered to us," Jake said. "That is why I am here now." Jaren took a breath. "I need to tell you something. The Galactic Council is dying." "We know," Jake said. "Do you know how bad it is?" Jake pulled out a data tablet and slid it across the table. "This is our intelligence assessment. Economic collapse across 14 member species. Defense networks failing. Medical crisis continuing. Piracy at historic highs. 3 species considering withdrawal. The Zenthari facing internal rebellion. Trade down 68%. Should I continue?" Jaren looked at the data and closed his eyes. "It is worse than I thought. You have better intelligence than we do." "We always did," Jake said quietly. "You just did not notice." "Chairman Pyloth is planning to come to Earth," Jaren said. "He wants to apologize, to offer terms for humanity to rejoin the Council." "We know that too," Jake said. "The answer is no. Before you decide, let me tell you what he will offer. Full voting rights, human control of 3 major committees, immediate action against the Zenthari, compensation for the colonies that were attacked, everything you asked for before." 6 months too late, Jake said. "And 40,000 lives too late." "I know," Jaren said quietly. "I know, but Jake, please. People are dying. Not just from the plague. From the piracy. From the economic collapse, from the Zenthari raids. Millions are suffering. And whose fault is that?" Yara met his eyes. "Ours, it is our fault. We were arrogant. We were dismissive. We did not value you until you were gone. I am not trying to excuse it. I am simply asking, is there no way forward?" Jake was quiet for a long moment. "Jaren, let me ask you something. If humanity came back to the Council tomorrow, what would change?" "Everything," Jaren said eagerly. "We would listen to you." "We would—" "No," Jake interrupted. "What would change structurally? The Council would still be the same organization, the same voting system, the same politics, the same species in charge. In a year, maybe 2, we would be right back where we started, ignored, dismissed, too young to understand." Jaren could not argue with that. "The Council is broken," Jake said. "It has been broken for a long time. You only notice now because it affects you personally." "Then help us fix it," Jaren said. "Help us build something better." "We are," Jake said. He activated the room's holographic display. It showed a star map. Human space was highlighted in blue. Around it, 17 other species territories were marked in green. "This is the Human Alliance. 17 species working together on equal terms. No senior members. No junior partners. Just cooperation based on mutual respect." "I know," Jaren said. "Everyone knows. Your alliance is thriving while we collapse." "Join us," Jake said. Jaren stared at him. "What?" "Leave the Council. Join the Human Alliance. Bring your people with you." "I cannot just abandon the Council." "Why not?" Jake asked. "We did. And we are doing fine. Better than fine. But the Council is hundreds of species. The Council is dying," Jake said bluntly. "You said so yourself. You can go down with it or you can save your people. What matters more? Your loyalty to a broken system or the lives of your citizens?" Jaren sat back, his mind racing. "Think about it," Jake said. "Talk to your people. If you want to join us, we will welcome you. But we are not going back to the council. That part of our history is over. 3 weeks later, Lisa Grant met with a trade delegation from the Arconian Concordat. They wanted access to human medical technology. Specifically, they wanted the cure for the plague. "We can pay," the lead Arconian said. "Whatever price you name." "It is not about money," Lisa said. "It is about trust. Your government voted against helping humanity when we needed aid. Why should we help you now?" "Because we made a mistake," the Arconian said. "We are admitting it, please. Hundreds of thousands have died. More are sick." Lisa looked at the alien across from her. She remembered sitting in the council chamber begging for help, showing pictures of dead children, being told to be patient. She felt no satisfaction in seeing the desperation on the Arconian's face. "Only sadness. The cure is available," Lisa said finally. "Free of charge." The Arconian's antennae perked up in surprise. "Free?" "Yes, we will not let people die because their government made poor choices. Send us your medical specifications. We will provide the cure." "Thank you," the Arconian said, relief evident. "Thank you so much. And perhaps in the future we could discuss closer cooperation." "Perhaps," Lisa said. "But that depends on you. On whether your government is willing to change. We do not work with people who see us as inferior. We work with equals. If you want a relationship with humanity, it must be on those terms." "I understand," the Arconian said. "I will relay this to my government." After the Arconian left, Chris Palmer entered Lisa's office. "You gave them the cure," he said. "For free?" "Yes, some people will see that as weakness. They will think we should have demanded payment." "Let them think that," Lisa said. "We are not doing this for profit. We are doing it because it is right. Besides, it sends a message. The council let people die over politics. We will not." "That distinction matters." "It does," Chris agreed. "Have you heard the latest news?" "Which news?" 3 more species have applied to join the alliance, and Councillor Jaron is recommending that the Pelthian Republic withdraw from the council and join us. Lisa smiled. "Good, he is a decent person. We need more like him." "There is other news," Chris continued. "Not so good. Chairman Pyloth is arriving at Earth tomorrow. He insists on a meeting." "I know," Lisa said. "Admiral Hayes is handling it." On Earth in Geneva, Admiral Kevin Hayes waited in a government conference room. The room was simple, with no elaborate decorations. Just a table, chairs, and a window overlooking the city. Chairman Pyloth arrived with a small entourage. The old avian looked diminished somehow. His feathers were dull, his movements slow. "Admiral Hayes," Pyloth said. "Thank you for seeing me." "You have 30 minutes, Kevin said. He did not offer refreshments or pleasantries. Pyloth settled into a chair designed for his species. "I have come to apologize. On behalf of the entire Galactic Council, I apologize for how we treated humanity. We were wrong. Completely wrong. We failed you when you needed help, and we have paid dearly for that failure." Kevin said nothing. "I am here to offer terms for humanity to rejoin the Council," Pyloth continued. "Full voting rights, control of Security Committee, immediate military action against the Zenthari, compensation for damages. Whatever you want, we will provide it." "No," Kevin said. Pyloth blinked. "You did not let me finish." "I do not need to hear more," Kevin said. "The answer is no. Humanity will not rejoin the Galactic Council under any circumstances, but why? We are offering you everything." "You are offering us nothing we need," Kevin said. "We do not need voting rights in your council. We do not need your military support. We do not need your compensation. We have our own alliance now, our own trade networks, our own security. We are doing fine without you." "But the council needs you," Pyloth said desperately. "Without humanity, we are collapsing. Surely you can see that." "I see it clearly," Kevin said. "What I do not see is why that should be our problem." Pyloth looked shocked. "You would watch us fall? Watch millions suffer? That is not like humans. You are supposed to be the helpful ones, the ones who always volunteer, who always get taken advantage of." Kevin interrupted. "Yes, we were like that. We helped everyone who asked. We shared our technology freely. We protected trade routes without asking for payment. We maintained sensor networks that everyone used. We did research that benefited the entire galaxy. And what did we get in return?" Pyloth said nothing. "We got dismissed," Kevin continued. "We got told we were too young to understand, too inexperienced to have opinions, too new to matter. When we needed help, you told us to be patient. When our people died, you formed committees. You treated us like children who should be grateful for any scraps of attention you threw our way. I know, Pyloth said quietly. I know, and I am sorry. Your sorry does not bring back the dead, Kevin said. And it does not change what you are. The council is not apologizing because you realized you were wrong. You are apologizing because you need us. There is a difference. What do you want from us? Pyloth asked. What can we do to make this right? Nothing, Kevin said. We do not want anything from you. We are done with the council. But if individual species want to work with us, we are open to that. On our terms. As equals. So you would tear apart the council? Poach our members? We are not poaching anyone, Kevin said. We are offering an alternative. If species choose to leave the council and join us, that is their choice. If they stay with you, that is also their choice. We are not going to force anyone. But without us, without the council structure, the galaxy will descend into chaos. The galaxy is already in chaos, Kevin pointed out. You